Noah Webster is known as the schoolmaster of the Republic. Noah got to go to school himself because he was one of the younger children in his family, one of the younger boys. And so Noah got to go to school where the other kids worked at home. He was big on the idea of we are Americans. We were a British colony. We're not. We are Americans. And to that end, he wanted to stress American language and education as a means of perpetuating that Americanism. He wrote the American Dictionary, in which he changed the spelling of many British words. He Americanized them, so to speak. And to that end, again, he published the American Spelling Book. And you know how it is that you had a yellow book for biology, you had a green book for history. His book is widely known as the Blue-backed Speller. Must have been blue. I can remember it when I was a kid. I'm not that old. I'm incredibly old, but I'm not that old. I didn't use the original version, edition 1. However, my impression of the book was yuck, because I was not a good speller. I hated spelling. Told my mother I would not really ever have to learn to spell because when I grew up I was going to have a secretary. Where I got that idea, I don't know. I did grow up, however, to have a secretary and to have spell check, which I never dreamed of in my wildest dreams. American views on education, other guys. These are the lesser lights now. Not that they're, lesser folks, but you haven't heard of them as much as you have heard of the first four. Benjamin Rush, William Smith, Robert Coram, and Samuel Smith. Rush was also big on nationalism. He was very vocal in support of a national university. And in truth, the first four presidents tried to establish a national university, but failed. In his behalf, Rush succeeded in helping found Pennsylvania's Dickinson College in 1783. That was the first college founded after the Revolution, and at the time, it was the westernmost institution. Benjamin Rush was a doctor, and as such, he was very interested in teaching people science. He thought that was important. He was also big, and I think we alluded to this last time, perhaps not, very big in the education of women. William Smith was a visionary. In 1753, he submitted a proposal to the university, to the future, perhaps, university in New York, which broke from the classical curriculum then in vogue by calling for instruction in science and practical subjects. As we found out last time, this proposal was rejected by New York, but Ben Franklin got a hold of it, as we say here in East Texas, and incorporated it as part of his academy. So perhaps by a stretch of the imagination, we could say William Smith was one of the first ones to call for science and practical subjects as part of the university curriculum. Because remember, Franklin's Academy became the University of Pennsylvania. Robert Coram was the first one, perhaps not the first one, but perhaps the most widely known one at this time, to call for federally federally supported educational system. Did not happen, still has not happened, although by the use of money, grant funding and otherwise, student loans and otherwise, the federal government is becoming more and more and more involved in setting educational directions. Samuel Smith saw education as a wonderful means of social control. What's social control? Well, that's preparing folks for niches in society, which doesn't sound bad until it becomes rigid, until it's used like the system in Europe, whereas if your dad's a shoemaker, then 99 chances out of 100 you're going to become a shoemaker. All societies have this in one form or another. The issue is whether to endure or embrace it. I think you could say that Hitler embraced it. Thus far in the United States, we have endured it, although there have been times in our history when we kind of edged closer to it and then backed away, and then edged closer and then backed away again.